Yes, people, myself, TS, welcome back to another NoFilterTS, and apologies, not done a little video in a minute. Just been busy, just been, up to stuff, had things going on in the personals, but, I'm back. And, on a boxing one, Laurence Okolie, I did a video some time ago, talking about the whole, the tweet he put out about Eddie Hearn is a diss. And we finally heard from him. We've heard from him and his brother. Obviously, he did a couple interviews the other day talking about the situation, basically mentioning, his point of view in terms of where he believed his contract was over, and also the fact that he's not actually been allowed to talk about this. And then his brother did an interview with the guys on Undefeated podcast, so shout out to them, KG and Trav. And it was really good to hear from him, and even he was like, well, they ain't taking no legal action against me, so I can talk. And, he stated things quite clearly, about the fact of, again, with contracts, if you have a certain amount of fights, at the period where a contract comes to the end, it comes to an end. And it seems like Laurence has just been caught up in this whole thing about the whole, it not looking good for Matchroom, with him, going over to sign that Sky Sports. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Lawrence's career, part of it, well, most of it, it's all started on Sky Sports when Matchroom was with Sky. Obviously, of recent, moved over to DAZN. I've done a video on that not so long ago as well, kind of saying that, I personally think the whole, move to DAZN, like the permanent move from Sky to DAZN, I think that's been a backward step for Matchroom, in terms of how things are for them in the UK. But it's odd, because at the time when you first saw Eddie talking, you're like, oh, right, my man's not saying nothing. And even my video, I think I was like, well, he has come a long way under Matchroom, to make it to world champion and stuff. But then when you hear his brother talking, you're like, yeah, no, him and Eddie don't even have they don't have a relationship. They don't really talk. And then he brought up certain fighters that, once they lose, they're rebuilding themselves on other platforms. And it's true, remember Josh Kelly, they were really rooting for him. And, that Neil Marsh guy was like, nah, David Avanesian beats him. And then, yeah, once he beat him, like, it was what it was. Even before they even got that fight, there's a time that Kelly pulled out, Marsh was, really tearing into Adam Booth about it. So, there's definitely stuff that's been going on which is not looking good for Matchroom. And at the end of the day, I think one thing with Eddie saying, he's lost money on fights with Laurence, at this point, it's just better off just let him go, Laurence is saying that, he's had confirmation from legal people that, he's out of contract, etc. But Eddie's still saying, no, he's still got one fight left. Obviously, his fight that's meant to be against David Light is, I think there's been an extension put on it, and then otherwise it's going to go to purse bids. It's just like, just let this fight get over and done with, and just keep it moving. But I think one thing that I don't think looked good as well is the fact that Lawrence's brother was saying that how, he's messaging the other cruiserweight champions, to get this unification on. And then Eddie must have basically said to him, that's not how you get a unification on. What's not been able to get none on for him. So, for me, I have a lot of respect for Eddie Hearn in terms of, his business acumen and that. But of recent, a lot of his actions have to come into question. That's not to dispute him as a person or anything. I don't know him. Never met him. Is he someone potentially you'd want to meet one day? Yeah, I think he's, he seems like an okay person. But this last 6 to 12 months, there's something that's gone on with his company that you think, raw, and him that you think, like, I thought this is the stuff he used to, like, accuse Frank Warren of. And, yeah, I don't know. It would have been less hassle to just let Laurence go. And cool, so be it, Sky Boxer have signed a world champion, a cruiserweight world champion. Cool. If you're not getting no fights from him anyways, you might as well just let him go. Like, it is what it is. Obviously, I know at Boxers that they got Riyad Paul, Billum Smith. So if either of them can get to that world title, get their hands on a world title, but then obviously they can do a cruiserweight unification. But it it's a bit, you know, it's a bit sad in a sense to just see Laurence's career kind of just get shelved because of the situation. So hopefully he gets this next fight thing out of the way as soon as possible, and then, you know, he can just keep it moving. But, you know, for me, like I said, I think it's good to finally hear his point of view on stuff. And I do feel like Eddie's going to have to come out and address these things. And, you know, it's funny to hear Okolie's brother talking about, you know, oh, Coogan's probably just finished, you know, doing him off. And even man like Coogan, you got to start applying real questions to your guy. Like, we know it's your guy. You know you lot got a friendship and relationship. Cool. But, like, apply proper questions to him, or, like, there's no point. You might as well just let Umar do it, because Umar seems to put pressure on Eddie. So, yeah, man. Like I said, it's good to hear Okolie's thoughts, Okolie's point of view in it. You know, in this, I'm just giving my thoughts on it, and I definitely feel that, you know, with this, you know, with the whole Conor Ben situation, that there's a lot of things that's, you know, put Matchroom and Eddie into question these past few months or so. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it all. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you haven't already done so, go hit that subscribe button now, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.